Also, our distinguished guests, please join me in welcoming our guests this afternoon, Ms. Melinda Weathers and Mr. Michael Hughes. As we come here to celebrate our Black history, please appreciate the magnitude of this moment. We have distinguished guests that have given up their time to help us celebrate, and you have several peers, as you can see, that have given their time. They've worked really hard to put this celebration together. Some of these students that are your peers have stepped well outside of their comfort zone to help put this together. So please appreciate that and help us celebrate those successes and their hard work. Please respect the magnitude and our guests and honor that with your best behavior and undivided attention. My ancestors were slaves, not something that we should celebrate. And from that slavery, my family and everyone else in this room today, black, brown, white, red, yellow, and green, are now able to celebrate together. And so that points to the idea that we are a resilient people. We live in an imperfect union, in an imperfect world. But because of our resilience and perseverance, we are now able to celebrate our Black history together. And so I want to turn this over to our first presenters, the DHS Choir. Please welcome our DHS Choir.
We'll never break, never stop, and when we get to the spot, we'll know we introduce yourself to the world.
Okay, thank you. It's nice to get asked to do certain things, but you know, at my age, you just say, well, I don't know what I'm going to do that time, but anything that Danville High School, about Danville School, asked me to do, I try to do it. And I am a part of the school. I've been a part of it I taught here for 33 years, and then I was a student here for 3 years. Because I went from the first grade to the 9th grade at Bates, and then came here from the 10th grade to the 12th grade. Then I came back after college, and after I graduated from college, and I taught here 33 years, and then I retired.
Glad to have you back, Mr. Trumbo. What was your biggest inspiration as a student here?
As a student here, I always wanted to make sure that I was going to excel. I mean, I enjoy sports and all this, but I wanted to make sure that I was going to excel because at that particular time, integration wasn't very popular. I mean, I don't know what some people felt like it was forced on people. We from Lake didn't really want to come here. No one, the whites did not want the blacks here in the first place. But it had to happen. And so it happened. And so I want to make something plain. I received as good an education at Bait as I received at Danville High School. Integration was very hard because we were taken away from our environment and placed here. We did not, you know, it wasn't a point that everybody just wanted to come to the white school. It was a point that we were forced to come here because integration came into existence.
So that was very fascinating. So as a student athlete, as a black student athlete, what advice you can give to me?
The advice I can give to you, and not only you, but to others, and especially the black athletes, don't just depend on the athletics to get you where you want to go. You got to have a little bit more than that. You got to make sure that you got those academics in line. And you can take, I call them baby courses, and go to college because you're going to flunk out. You got to make sure that you're taking high academics. Tell you young people, get your education. Get it while you can. This is not going to be, you know, when you leave from here, this should be the stepping stone for you to step up higher to make life better for yourself. I look at myself, we were poor people. We were poor. I mean, we went home, so we were poor. You know, so there's a difference between those two. And so, anyway, we didn't have the money to go to school. I didn't know how to go to school. But you know what? I prayed. And I asked the Lord to please help me. I don't want to go to college. I don't want to go to vocational school or technical school. And it's nothing wrong, but I didn't want to, I want to be a school teacher. What do you think that we can do as the former graduates of Danville High School, or parents of high school students? What are some of the things that we can do that you think?
I say just coming out and just supporting and just being there for their sons, their daughters, and even like the grandmas coming out supporting their granddaughter or whatever.
Yeah, you seem like that you like school, okay?
Yeah, I'm pretty excited about school.
Now, how is the racial relationship amongst the students as well as teacher-student?
I feel like everybody, black and white, I think everybody's pretty cool with each other. I have white friends that go here, and so, and still, teacher-wise, I think same thing as well. Yeah.
My brother went to college. He got depressed. He came home before the end of the year. Came home, and they said, no, he shot himself. And you talking about something that just really floored me.
Yeah.
It really actually floored me. But you know, I'm going to say this to you, and I'm not a preacher or nothing like this, but I'll say this to you. Without God, I couldn't have made it.
Yes, sir.
Because that was my soulmate. Now, that was just my best friend. And something happened in school, and he decided just to quit. And he quit in a year. And his grade was good. But he came home, and came home in like April, and all of us had killed himself. So these are some of the things that young people go through with that you don't understand. You know, you say, well, why? But I love telling this story because I know that you young people, y'all have problems and you don't know who to talk to sometimes. But if you find someone that you can talk to, even now in school, if you have problems like Miss Hawkins, that's a good person to talk to, just to talk to.
Thank you, Mr. Trump. I really appreciate you coming, and thank you for just everything. Man.
You should tell Mom I said,
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir. I got you. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I got you.
I too sing America. I am the darker brother. They send me to eat in the kitchen. When company comes, but I laugh and eat well and grow strong. Tomorrow I'll be at the table. When company comes, nobody will dare to say to me, eat in the kitchen then. Besides, they'll see how beautiful I am and be ashamed. I too am American.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is when you can talk. You can say it back. Thank you. Got a choir in the back over here. My name is Melinda Weathers. I am a 1998 graduate of Danville High School. Very proud of that and glad to be back here today to share with you for Black History Month. It is a pleasure, it is an honor for me to share words of wisdom. It doesn't feel like I've been, that I graduated so long ago. But I know I don't look like it, but I'm getting close to being 43 years old. And to look back and to see how far the Danville school system has progressed, and to see that in 2023 we have a program designated for Black History Month. But it's not stopping today. As I had conversations before I agreed to come, we were discussing how we can celebrate other culture heritage months. And so I'm excited this is the launch of us celebrating other cultures as well. I just wanted to share a little bit with you from my experience just in January. I had an opportunity to go to Ghana, to the continent of Africa. And also, before I move too quickly, I was just recently selected to be on the school board, so I'm very excited about that. I want you to know that you have a voice, you have someone who is there to represent you, represent all students, but also I believe that representation matters. It matters that we have diversity in every aspect of our lives. So I had an opportunity to go to Ghana in January, and I was there for about 2.5 weeks. Myself, another professor from Center College, this is where I work as the diversity director, along with 28 other students. Needless to say, there was a very emotional journey for all of us, and especially for those of us who are ancestors, resided there, lived there. And I just wanted to share a little bit of an experience with you, and then to leave you with something that you can hold on to and to apply it to your life. So we had an opportunity while I was in Ghana, I experienced all of the food, the culture, the music, the song and the dance. And I've always wished that I was a musician, but I just was never blessed with that talent. But my favorite instrument is the drum, the congo or the bongos. And so I just embraced it all while I was there. A place I'd never been before. but I felt such a connection because I knew that's where my ancestors come from. And so while I was in Ghana, I had an experience while I was there, a really emotional and impactful experience. I want to just preface my comments by saying you may feel some emotion as I share some of the things that I experienced. I may get emotional, who knows? We may all be up in here crying, I don't know. But I just want to preface by saying I'm going to share a little bit of the truth of the history that I experienced while I was in Ghana. So we had an opportunity to travel to the Cape Coast region. And we visited the slave dungeons. I had an opportunity to walk in the very spaces where my ancestors were held captive. Needless to say, it was despicable conditions, unimaginable, to be in a space with no room, no windows, no ventilation. And our ancestors were forced to be in that space. It was unfathomable to think of the amount of evil that was perpetrated on other human beings. So I've heard about the slave quarters, certainly when I was in school. I've heard, the history of that, but I didn't really have a full understanding of what my ancestors went through. And it's not by incident and coincidence, I don't believe in coincidence necessarily, that I had an opportunity to travel in January that has really impacted my life and has really made me to appreciate, of course, Black History Month even more. So I was in the slave dungeons, in spaces where my ancestors once lived. And just above the slave quarters was also the space for those who were the oppressors. So their living conditions was a lot different from the way it looked like underneath in the dungeons. So their space was very spacious. There was windows all throughout the rooms. You could instantly feel a difference from what individuals experienced in a dungeon versus what individuals experienced just 2 floors above. While I was upstairs, I physically was sick to my stomach. Physically sick to my stomach to know that human beings had an opportunity to do the right thing and chose to do the wrong thing. I want you to keep that word choice in your mind. So I became sick to my stomach. I was angry. I was confused by the hypocrisy. I was disappointed in humanity. I stood in one of the dungeons and I broke down. Now I'm, the adult with all these other students, and I was like, I got to keep myself together to be a support for other students, but I lost it while I was standing inside of the dungeon. When I say lost it, not just the little tears that fall down. I had a real breakdown. So as a society, as students, as teachers, as other community members, we will wrestle with the consequences and the repercussions of our past. All of us will. We'll have to think how that has affected the ways in which we live life right now. One of the questions that I posed to the group when we were together, I said, I wish we could just imagine for a little bit what life would be like if we just knew the truth of our history. Not that it would change, but what would life look like if we just knew the truth of our history? So, an incredible experience, a life-changing experience. But something else I want to share that I experienced while I was there. There was a plaque on the side of the castle. And this plaque said, it had been put up many years later, but it said in so many words, you are descendants of those who refuse to die. Descendants of those who refuse to die. So we could spend time talking about the suffering and the grief and the sorrow. We could also take a different perspective and to recognize that our ancestors refused to die in the midst of so much hate, refused to die. They had every right to give up. They had every right to reciprocate the same level of evil. They had every right to retaliate. Your ancestors, my ancestors, they made a choice, and that choice was to live. Refused to die, and they chose to live. They chose resiliency. They chose courage. They chose perseverance. They chose fortitude. They chose hope for a better tomorrow. So, we all have our stories. And based on some of the things that you right here in this space have endured, we sometimes have felt like giving up. I'll be honest, I have. I've experienced a lot. I've lost loved ones, lost both of my parents. I've lost my sister. There's been times when I've wanted to give up and say, you know what? I'm not built for this. But on this last day of Black History Month, can I remind you, as I remind myself, that your ancestors, no doubt, they felt the same way, but they made a different choice. So as long as you and I have breath in our bodies, my challenge to you today is to make a choice. You possess the power of a choice. Now, if I was in a church setting, I'd do a little preaching on the side. I would say, talk back to me, right? I would say, repeat after me, you have the power of choice. But can you participate with me a little bit? Say, you have the power of choice. Say it. Thank you. You possess the power of choice. So as I close this afternoon, my hope and my prayer for each of you is that you choose to celebrate your diversity, your differences, that you choose to embrace your unique identities, and that you choose to demand inclusion, equity, and access for your generation. You have the power to choose, and the choices you make today become the framework for your future. So I close today, I say to all of us, to all of you here today, happy Black His story, his story. Happy Black her story. Happy Black their story. Thank you so much for your time today.
My name is Melinda. I'll be senior in Katina Stokes today. She owns the business Catering Dogs, the cater dog in downtown Danville, and I'll be interviewing with you. So go ahead and introduce yourself.
My name is Katina Stokes. I'm married to Jamie Stokes. We have a daughter that attends Danville High, Johnny Stokes. I was working for Alltech and was furloughed, and my husband said, well, this is an opportunity to run a business, so we started the Cater Dog. And the Cater Dog is a spin-off from my 40th birthday party. I had a hot dog bar. I had a lot of people to feed, so we had a hot dog bar, and the idea took off, and I helped several people create a bar of their own, and then when we had COVID, my husband said, make it a business, and we did, and so far we're doing really well. We're actually relocating to the downtown area from Greenleaf Shopping Center. My husband's an electrical engineer, and his shop brought us here. He's been with the company for about 30 years. So we didn't want to let that go, so we followed. That's pretty much it as far as what's going on. I'm going to be getting back into college to finish my degree that I started in the 90s. And motivation right now is just to get a little weight off and perfect my business and make it a franchise.
good. What has been your biggest inspiration?
My biggest inspiration is to be as good a mom as my mother was, and to be as good as she was, but to also break some different, what I call generational curses, different things that just kind of go from generation to generation, and be a better parent in that way, and to see different results in my own children. So everything that I do, I just try to inspire to learn from my past and take from the things that weren't the best and to expound on the things that were great. So that's basically how I live my life.
What motivates you?
Right now, my motivation at this time in my life, because I'm 48 now, so there's been different things throughout my life. It's been different motivations. Now that my children are older, my motivation now is to have financial independence and to be debt free by the time I'm 55. So with that in mind, just to live a genuine life based on the things that I love and the things that my husband enjoys, because we're getting close to being empty nesters. We definitely want to live our passions, and his passion is cars, and we want to build him a dream shop, and my passion is living minimally.
You said you wanted to be debt free. That's interesting. Why is that important to you?
For me, generationally, going back to that, I have lived a varied life as far as finances, and in my childhood, I saw what I called financial adultery in my mother's marriage, misuse of money, misappropriation of funds, and it was a lot of stress. For me, the chase of chasing things and chasing material things, I feel like it keeps you in bondage. You have to work to pay for the things that you have. The more you have, the more you have to work. For me, I want quality over quantity, and I want just what I need, and that frees me up to be able to give to others, because now it's not just all about a whole closet full of clothing and 5 different cars, which we actually do have 5 cars, but they're classic cars at my husband's hobby. But I just want a stress-free lifestyle.
And do you think that kind of touches on you, like wanting to be a
Minimalism for me is also spiritual. I don't believe in excess. I don't believe in hoarding. I don't believe in those things.
What does Black History Month mean to you?
So Black History for me is today. Black History for me is being made every single day. And that's how I look at Black History. I am Black History. I'll be the 3rd Black-owned business in the history of Danville to be on Main Street.
We enjoyed your time today. Thank you for coming. I liked how you said you will be one of the first Black females to own a business on Main Street. Can't wait to try one of your hot dogs.
Thank you.
I'll be reading Advice Poem by Alora Young. I asked every living woman on my mother's side what advice they would give me in regard to this whole growing up thing. This is what they said. To everybody in America that is young and melanated, I lay before you some advice. Number 1, don't let anyone tell you what you can and can't be. Number 2, more often than not, foundations set you free. Number 3, love yourself, love recklessly. Number 4, F the naysayers. Do what makes you happy. Number 5, don't be afraid to use your voice. Number 6, when God hands you a gift, take it. 7, do not be conquered by self-doubt. 8, too many people don't want you to make it. 9, find confidence inside yourself. 10, stay true to who you are. 11, stay true to who you are. 12, get yourself an education. 13, don't depend on anybody else to lift you above your station. 14, in this world, you must observe, because some set out to harm you. 15, be safe and be a child. Change comes so fast, it will alarm you. 16, you have all you need to make it. God has given you your tools. 17, don't change to be like the crowd. 18, don't ever become cruel. 19, you are everything you're meant to be. 20, I promise, you're enough. 21, don't let creepy old men steal your joy. 22, being a young black girl is tough. 23, but through all the trials that you'll find, all the aching and the sorrow. 24, know that just because you're down today, 25, doesn't mean you'll be down tomorrow. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I am in Danville High School, right? Good afternoon. All right, okay. My name is Michael Hughes. I'm the president of the Danville County African American Historical Society. I am also the proud grandfather of one Kinsley Hughes, and I am also the uncle of one Braden Ball. They're in the house. Melinda says it's been a long time since you, so I'm going to talk about a longer time. It's been almost 55 years since I walked across the stage as a 1968 graduate of Danville High School. It was in that year that we witnessed one of the darkest moments in Black history. It was April the 4th, 1968, the day that Dr. Martin Luther King was assassinated in Memphis, Tennessee. As news spread out throughout the nation in the halls of our school, many students met at the steps, crying, angry, and in disbelief. Let's go to the streets was heard from many students that was in attendance. But as seniors, we convinced the students that the nonviolent approach that Dr. King had preached most of his life was what was needed at this time. We all kneeled, we all prayed, and we prayed again. We prayed for our nation, we prayed for our city, and we prayed for our school. We never envisioned that we were in a Black History moment. Black History Month was first initiated as far back as 1915. In 1926, it was called Negro History Month. Many presidents have added their own resolution to the month-long February celebration of African American achievements. I am one who believes that history is 365 days in the year. I am one who believes that we make our dreams become reality, to exist on an equal plane with all mankind. Well over 10 years ago, I realized our history in our own city and county was not being shared on any levels. No big books or documentation were available. That is when the African American History Society was born. We now have books, a festival, a history center / museum, and many projects that highlight the African American experience in our community. Many Black achievements come to mind in our nation and city. We have had a Black president. We have a Black woman vice president and the first woman of color to be in that position. Danville has had many firsts also. We now have a Black mayor. We have a Black police chief. And the first Black superintendent of the Danville school system. Can I get a hand on that, please? And Danville High School is also commended for having many student achievements. I applaud the school administration for its recognition of base school and its importance to our community. In closing, I would like to thank Danville High School administration for inviting me to speak today and its to commitment for education by highlighting this Black History Month. In closing, once again, I say, go Ads, go Bulldogs, and let's continue to rise in our school system, our community, and in our nation as we celebrate Black history and the achievements of it. Thank you so much.
Admirals, before we go, let's make sure we give another round of applause to our visitors. One of the things that we treasure and we value is our diversity. And we make sure that we honor that every day and make sure that you appreciate that within yourself and with others and every opportunity that you get. Thank you for your attendance today. I appreciate how you all listened, and I hope that something resonated with you today. All right, at this time, on the far left, you all are dismissed. You are